I was recently on a flight and was talking to the guy next to me about relational challenges, obstacles, problems. And he asked me this question. He said, what are 2 or 3 things that I find I'm consistently annoyed by that are traits in other people? And then I gave it some thought. It wasn't too hard to answer the question. And I answered his question and I gave 2 or 3 different things. And then he asked me, do I see any of those traits within myself? Of course, I was dumbfounded, gobsmacked, went silent. And I was immediately challenged that what regularly irritates me about other people is traits that I have within myself. This is quite confronting. It often comes down to many sayings of, when you're pointing a finger at someone else, the 3 pointing back at you. Really, we can only take responsibility for our own crap. And pointing the finger is really nothing short of a language of accusation. We decide to play judge and jury. The reason I'm kind of leading with this is the word narcissism and narcissistic is thrown around a lot today. And to be honest, I believe most of us, if we really unravelled what we needed to unravel, most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, we could see that we all have some narcissistic traits. Because from my understanding, narcissism is about really putting the focus on yourself too much. Now, for me personally, if we just talk about being self-focused and we remove the label narcissism, I think all of us have tendencies every day to be self-focused. We go through our routine each day on autopilot, often just reacting to what comes up against us. And without realising, often we're just stuck in self-preservation and defending ourselves. There are a few out there that have absolute peace in their body, mind, soul and spirit. Their heart doesn't carry trauma anymore. And no matter what comes at them, they're not reactive. They respond with peace. That's one of the few people that I believe definitely doesn't have any narcissistic tendencies. And their default position isn't self-preservation. What I believe, one of the qualities that true Buddhists represent is that peace, because they spend so much time in meditation and clearing the mind of thoughts that are essentially lies and self-judgment. So narcissism has a couple of flavours. One is having narcissistic traits, covert narcissism, and there's a clinical one which I believe is narcissistic personality disorder, which is more definitive, aggressive, black and white, 6, 7, 8 traits, which is all about self-glorification, self-edification, making yourself look better than everyone else, all about your agenda, you're the king of the jungle, you're Tarzan, all those sorts of things. If I talk too much, my cup of tea gets cold. I put cream in this one today, which makes it extra cold but extra creamy. With about 6 or 7 cups of tea a day I have, 1 or 2 get cream. They're the special ones. So I say a special one for you today. Anyway, there's a little sideline for you about my habits for tea. Don't really have them with coffee. On a personal note, I was in a relationship where I was told I was controlling, manipulating. Everything always had to be about me. And then more recently it was about I was pretty much a narcissist. So probably for the last 20 years I've been labelled many things. Narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, Asperger's, bipolar, codependent, maybe even autistic. The list goes on. Today, I actually conclude with thank you very much. It means I have a very interesting personality. I'm very diverse. I have the potential to connect with lots of different people that have many different ways of perceiving life. And I'm not boring. I'm not normal. So today, I thank you, those people that said that. I feel complimented. But personally, I don't believe in labels, which is ironic for this conversation we're having today. But throughout those years of being labelled those things, the message I heard was there's something wrong with you. You need fixing, you need help. You're not a good person. You're selfish. You hurt people. To be honest, that was difficult. It formed a lot of my identity. And preceding the relationship of my marriage, there was a relationship with my parents where I got along pretty well with my mum. Since about the age of 13, 14, didn't get along with my dad. I moved out of home at the age of 16. Whenever I rang mum to talk to her or ask for help or borrow money or anything like that, there was always dad in the background going, "Is that Christopher? Don't give him any money." What I heard as a traumatised person that was traumatised from childhood was, he doesn't matter, he doesn't have value, don't love him, don't look after him, let him fend for himself. It was rejection. Now that was my main trigger coming out of home, was rejection. Anyone ever disagreed with me, I took it as rejection, and the pain naturally manifested into control and anger. So I was a person that went through my life being told something's not right. That formed a big part of my coping mechanisms and how I walked out my life. And I even took on the identity of, yes, I am narcissistic, and that's not good. But today I know that I manifested a lot of traits that you could label many things, but it all came from trauma. And if you want to call self-preservation being selfish, which in some ways it definitely is, I'll accept that. But today my choice is to navigate the why rather than the circumstance or the end result. A lot of that is because I believe that's the way God looks at us. He looks at the why, not what we do, not what we say, not the mistakes we make. He's not our judge and jury, even though he's the only one that has the right to do that, because he knows us infinitely, inside and out. He knows our motives, our heart, our thoughts, everything. But I stand before you today, stand, knowing that I'm fully accepted by God and God approves of me. I walk in his righteousness, which to me means right standing with God. I don't need to go to church to be told that. I don't need to read the Bible to be told that. I don't need to pray to be told that. I know that because I know what unconditional love looks like. It doesn't judge, it doesn't condemn, it doesn't bring guilt and shame. And one thing I noticed out of my trauma was I was really judgmental towards myself. And from that, being hard on myself, being judgmental, being critical towards myself, it was through that lens that I saw others. And I judged them accordingly. I picked out their faults. Today, I see people's faults, but I see the why, which is trauma. So I choose to speak into their greatness, their awesomeness, their beauty, the goodness that I believe God has put inside every person. This has indeed been a treacherous journey for me with a lot of torment. But I am who I am today because of that journey. You know, we all would have experienced people that were tough on us, hard on us, critical on us, judgmental on us. But I believe if we dig within ourselves to rise above that, it can become a strength. It can give us peace, it can give us clarity, and help us see the truth of ourselves. And from accepting who we truly are, we can see the truth of others. And because I see greatness today in myself that I cannot comprehend, I easily see it in others. And that's what I want to speak to in your life, to help you overcome the lies you've been told and walk out of the greatness that is actually already inside of you. You've just been blinded to it. And it's a load of bullshit spoken to you by those who are meant to love you, protect you, guard your heart, instill a sense of value and worth into you, and they failed you. Mostly parents and our peers, because they didn't own their own brokenness and dumped it on us. That's disgusting. And sometimes we've just got to go, enough is enough, and break the cycle. So narcissism today, when we find out that we have narcissistic traits, or we're partnered with someone who's narcissistic, I believe we have two choices. One, show mercy, two, run away or abandon ship. And maybe it just comes down to fight or flight. And today I'm not going to tell you how to make that choice. I only encourage you to ask the right questions rather than making statements. It's easy for us to make statements and judgments. The challenge is to ask the right questions. I'm journeying with someone at the moment that highlighted my narcissistic traits. And I've been learning so much about one thing they've taught me, that what you accuse people of, you often have yourself. And this person, I believe, also has narcissistic traits. Covert narcissism. I'm not an intellectual, so these big words are very hard for me. You'll have to bear with me, sorry. But this person, I also know, has a great heart. So I'm challenging you today, while I'm being challenged myself, to ask why. And are we able to show compassion into the why? Because the why, I believe, is always from abuse they've suffered from their parents and peers, from the lies they've been brainwashed into believing about themselves. And we all know how hard it is to confront that and stop pointing the finger, stop speaking like a victim, and choose to be a warrior more than a conqueror and an overcomer, and recognize our propensity and destiny and human design to be a vessel of love. First, we got to learn to love who we are. What we all need is more grace, kindness, patience, compassion, all of that warm, fluffy stuff. And it's us men that need to lead the way of what that looks like. We can be strong, we can carry a sword, we can carry a shield, we can stand firm, we can be prepared to fight in any battle. But we need to do it with kindness, wisdom, patience. Lots of other words that just get too fluffy for me sometimes. This has been my journey. This has been my challenge. This has been my misery, my message, my torment, and my reward. If you resonate with any of this, we have something that's called a chess club. Currently it's in person, but we're looking to bring it online as well. I don't think the playing of the chess will happen online. We want to connect with people that are sick and tired of that gnawing feeling deep down, where there's been something that's been holding them back their entire life. It's called trauma from your childhood. We don't take an approach like psychologists and counsellors. We just have an authentic, genuine heart-to-heart connection. We can't actually really explain, but it's centered around safety, being seen, being valued, and the pursuit of truth and authenticity, which is manifest in love that is just mind-blowing. The one thing that deep down we're all craving. And I think it takes a man to admit that he's broken. He's in pain, and he's spent his life hiding that because he doesn't want people to see that he's in pain. But when you have an opportunity to really be seen and really be valued and loved in that moment, it shifts the way you process pain for the rest of your life. then you open up a world of having freedom to make choices, not out of just survival and coping, but out of knowing who you truly are and choosing your own path that is between you and your God. And I say that because we're not into preaching anything, whether it's giving advice, religion, God, or anything at all. It's all about posturing you to have the strength to make choices that is for the true you, the right you, the authentic you. We live for people like you, people that are authentically hungry and have said enough is enough. As time, I live out that dream.